Hello everyone, my name is Abby Bliss White and welcome to my channel. It is Friday and that means we're going to have a little bit of fun smelling some fragrance. So welcome to Fragrance Friday, and today we're going to celebrate National Lily Day and have a bit of a perfume party. I have 5 beautiful perfumes that are all centered around the lily flower, and I thought we would have fun just sort of sampling these today and have a little bit of fun exploring the way that these perfume brands are interpreting the lily flower. So if you are interested in joining me on a little perfume sampling party today, then let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I got these samples from Twisted Lily, and if you've never ordered from them before, they always show up. Your samples are going to show up with little perfume strips, and what I love about this is that on each strip it's going to have you put the fragrance name, and then it has an area where it says love, still thinking, not for me, which I think is so fun because as somebody who samples a lot of different perfumes, I will often have an initial reaction to a perfume, but it's actually really important to, not only experience it on a strip of paper, but to put it on your skin. And a lot of perfumes are going to take you on a bit of a ride. Like the initial blast of the perfume is not going to be exactly what it ends up like on your skin or upon the dry down. And so I love having these little sample parties to kind of see how the perfumes evolve, which ones I actually want to put on my skin and sample, and those that are just a no-go. So we have 5 different brands to play with today, and I'm going to start with Montal Paris. This one is Crystal Flowers. And I'm basically going on a sampling party with you. I have not done any research. I will read the notes to you in a minute, but I wanted to just go ahead, kind of sample these as if you were in the same room, like we're trying these together. Okay, I've written the name down. I'm going to spray it on paper first. Initially, this is going to be a very fresh, invigorating floral. It's going to be soft. It's not like too heady of a floral. Very pretty. Very soft and airy. This one has a bit of a clean note to it as well that I'm enjoying. Kind of that shower fresh feeling. Very, very soft, very pretty. I'm actually getting like a fresh rose scent in here. I definitely smell some rose in here, like very fresh, dewy rose. And I do smell that Lily of the Valley. And when I think of Lily of the Valley fragrances, I do think of them as a bit more of a clean floral. Like you get that sort of linen-y or airy cottony cleanness with that note. So to me, this is going to be very soft, a bit airy and floaty, very office appropriate. This one is not too heady, and I believe that there is some musk in the base of this because it's very cocooning. So let me read the notes here. This is rose, lily of the valley, mandarin, amber, vanilla, musk, and patchouli. And this is actually a great example of a fragrance that will include patchouli in here, but that many people who think that they hate patchouli might really like this is not super dominant. Like this is not one of those fragrances that you're going to smell and go, ooh, this is a patchouli fragrance. It's just going to have a touch of it in here. And I also find that patchouli can also kind of elevate that clean note. So patchouli can be a bit earthy. It can be a bit of a clean patchouli. This would definitely be on the clean side, but this is very pretty, soft, airy. Now that I'm looking at it, the bottle is actually this very pretty pink color, and I do think that the scent kind of mirrors that bottle. Very feminine. If you like florals, I think you will like this. If you love Lily of the Valley, I think you'll think this is a very pretty fragrance as well. So as far as love, still thinking, not for me. I would say still thinking, because I have a couple things already in my collection that remind me of this pretty fragrance. I would say like this Rose Kabuki. It's not exactly the same, but it's a very light kind of fresh rose scent, and that one's very easy to wear. There's another one from Dior that it's reminding me, I'll pull it out, but it is reminding me of that. A fragrance from Armani that is peony based. I don't seem to see it right off the bat, but I will list below the ones that is sort of reminding me of these. So I would not need to pick this up because I already own something like this, but if you are in the market for that, I think this is a very pretty one. Okay, next sample we have is from Hermetica, and this is Jade 888 or 888, and Hermetica is a clean perfume brand. They also are more oil based, so they like actually moisturize your skin when you use their perfumes. Sampled some of their perfumes, but not this specific one. So okay, so with this one, I'm definitely smelling the Lily of the Valley in here. This is going to be a very green floral. There's a bit of earthiness to this right off the bat. This one is very fresh, very green. I'm smelling a little bit of that musk as well. Like this is another one that's going to make you feel fresh and clean, very inoffensive. I think there is a bit of sweetness to this one as well. Like it's a little bit sweet and earthy, if that makes sense. It's definitely green. That's what I would say, is if I am walking outside, maybe it has just rained and I am smelling like a bit of that freshness. There's also that earthiness or grassiness that I'm smelling just a hint of. This one doesn't smell like super complex, but it does smell high quality, if that makes sense. For one of these kind of fresh green Lily of the Valley scents, it smells like quality to me. There is a feminine touch in here, like there is a sweetness in here. Excited to read the notes. I don't know if there is a fruit element to this, but there's definitely something that is coming across as sweet to me. This is always fun. It's almost as if I'm testing myself. So the key notes in this soft, verdant scent are ginger extract, Lily of the Valley molecule, and green musk molecule. And I find this very interesting because I didn't really smell that ginger in here. Like to me, ginger's actually got a little oomph to it, like a little pow. I love to cook with ginger and it's so aromatic. No, I didn't quite get that upon first smelling this, but as this is drying down, I am sort of seeing this ginger seep out onto this strip of paper. And I wouldn't say this is super spicy. What I would say is that this is a very green, clean fragrance, but that ginger note is sort of tethering this down just a bit, making this a bit more unique amongst like these sort of clean Lily of the Valley fragrances. So this one's going to be less floral. This main dominant note in here is Lily of the Valley, so you're definitely going to have to like the smell of that. The first one was a mix of bouquet, like it had that rose in there that I definitely smelled. This one's definitely a Lily of the Valley dominant scent. And when I think about the note of Lily of the Valley, there is something sort of sweet and pure, almost innocent about it. I always think of fragrances that have sort of that clean note to it. So I actually love this description of what Lily of the Valley smells like. It says it smells like a snowflake, a spoonful of vanilla ice cream, a baby's smile. And I do think that that really kind of describes the essence of Lily of the Valley in such a perfect way. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and put this as still thinking. It's not an automatic love, but I do find it really perfect for exactly what it is, sort of this fresh green floral. Okay, the next one I have is from this house that I have been intrigued with for a very long time. It is from Floriku, and these are the ones that have these gorgeous bottles. I had smelled them at Saks in New York City, but at the time I was focused on a different perfume that I was picking up. But I will say that I had the best time sort of walking through their collection. Very unique bottles. Love the stories behind them. And this one is called Sleeping on the Roof. So let me put... Okay, this one smells really good. Like right off, I'm like, ooh, I really like this. Definitely a floral blast here. I smell like there's probably, I think I smell a touch of orange blossom in here. Definitely smell the Lily of the Valley. Very fresh, but there is something that is holding this down a bit. But there's a note in here that is sort of tethering the florals just a bit. I do love floral fragrances, but if they are too heady or they don't have a rich enough base, it'll sort of make my stomach sick. I used to wear really super heady florals back in the day, such as carnal flowers and such, and I still really enjoy some of them, but I will say as I've aged, I just can't wear those as much. They will kind of give me a little bit of a, they'll kind of make me just a teeny bit nauseous. This is not the case with this. This is very fresh and pretty. This is me thinking like I'm walking out in the spring and there's all these gorgeous flowers out there. I'm definitely getting a little bit of musk in here as well, like something very cocooning. But so far I'd have to say this one is the one that I would like I do love this. Upon first smell, I was like, okay, this is really beautiful. This one is just really pretty, like very elegant. Like I would enjoy wearing this one. So far out of the three that I have tried, this one is the one that I'm going to say I love because it was an initial like I love the smell of this. So this might be the one that I wear today, but we've got a couple more, so we shall see. But I definitely am really enjoying this one. So let me read the notes to you. Lily of the Valley, definitely smell that. Okay, good. There's orange blossom oil. So there is that pretty orange blossom note in here. And then it is an amber musk. Okay, so that's what it was. Because I was saying there was something in there that I liked that had a bit of warmth in here, but I would definitely call this one of these fresh fragrances. Definitely a green floral, has that touch of musk that's going to kind of cocoon you just a bit. And the brand describes this as a floral and musky fragrance with green accents. Okay, so far I love Sleeping on the Roof. Okay, let's move on to Zerjoff. This is a Scento Overdose. I swear I may have smelled this before, and if this is anything else like the Zerjoff fragrances, those tend to have more of a pow factor. There's an interesting DNA that's in all the Zerjoff fragrances. So let's see how they interpret Lily of the Valley. I'm imagining this is going to be a bit stronger. Yep, I'm smelling that Zerjoff DNA, which to be honest with you, doesn't always mix well with my chemistry. I like the dry down a bit more than when I first spray out Zerjoffs. There's just something that goes a little bit sour on my skin. So that is why I don't have a lot of Zerjoff in my collection, because that DNA just doesn't mix well with me. So right off the bat, I'm not necessarily getting that fresh cleanness like the other fragrances we were just talking about. And usually this just dissipates. So it's like the first blast that I smell that Xerjoff kind of signature DNA. And now I'm actually smelling a bit of airiness. The lily of the valley is definitely coming out in here. There's something a little bit sparkly in here, and I'm definitely smelling some sort of fruit. I don't know if it's like pear, but there's a bit of fruitiness in here. And I also smell a mix of other florals in here. I swear there's like jasmine in here. Jasmine, there's a little bit of this floaty lily of the valley, but it's not going to be as dominant as the other fragrances that I just sampled. And there's also something in here that's sort of like opening up my nose passages. I don't know exactly what it is, but it has sort of a invigorating feel to this. So as this is drying down, it's actually becoming quite pretty. This one smells very complex, a little bit more sophisticated than the other fragrances. And there's something that's smelling a bit like the outdoors to me. So I definitely would want to put this one on my skin to kind of sample it. It's definitely taking me on a bit of a ride. Okay, before we read the notes, this is already like settling down, and I'm having this like moment where it's sort of exploding into this very plush, deep floral. Like this one is a bit exciting, meaning it sort of has that initial blast of Xerjoff DNA that dissipates. Then it's almost morphs into this sort of airiness, like a light green floral, and then now it is like exploding, and I'm really getting this like deep plushness in here. So let's read the notes of this one. Okay, interesting here. So the top notes are fruity and green notes. The heart notes is Mediterranean pine and eucalyptus. So I sort of described how this felt like it was sort of clearing my passages in a good way. It's not like a bad menthol. It's not like a bad menthol smelling. It just felt sort of like invigorating. And then in the base, you've got Egyptian jasmine, Bulgarian rose, and muguet, which is lily of the valley. So this is definitely a Xerjoff fragrance. If you are somebody who loves those more complex fragrances, you love Xerjoff, this is definitely one I would get your nose on. This is a very gorgeous plush floral. There is definitely a little bit of sparkliness to this when you first spray it out. So for myself, this did surprise me. I do really like it. I'm going to put it as still thinking just because I know that Xerjoff and I don't always get along. As it progresses, I can get a teeny bit of sourness on my skin. I don't actually foresee this with this combination, so I need to test this out on my skin, and I can give you a little update on this at a later date. Okay, next one we have is from Maison Crivelli, and this is Bliss Solaberg. So interested to smell this one. I really like that house. I find them very interesting. This one's really pretty. This is the first one of this batch that is smelling a bit like warm, like a little bit smoky, like appropriate for this time of year, if that makes sense. Like you can definitely wear all the other ones, but this one is not like this kind of clean lily of the valley. I'm definitely smelling a faint amount of the lily of the valley. Like there's honestly almost a bit of a powderiness. Like I almost would describe this more as an iris scent versus a lily of the valley scent. I'm almost smelling something a bit medicinal in here. Again, not in a bad way, sort of in an interesting balancing out way, but there's some note in here that smells just a tinge medicinal to me. This one's very interesting. I feel like there is some sort of chewiness in here. There's like a fruitiness in here, but I'm describing it as more of a chewy fruit, not like a luscious ripe fruit. Honestly, I've got to read the notes on this one because there's a lot going on in here, but it is definitely not anything like the fragrances that we just described. I'm feeling like this warmth. I'm feeling a bit of this smokiness. There may be tobacco or there may be some patchouli in here. There's lily of the valley in this fragrance because this is what this video is about, but it is definitely not prominent. This is definitely interesting. I feel like it's got a little bit of woodiness in here. Definitely unisex. This is not going to be super feminine leaning. Okay, so let's read the notes in this. It says lily flower, quince, calamus essential oil, guaiac wood, ambroxan, oak moss absolute, cedar. So yes, there's definitely woodiness in here. Torrefied oak chips absolute. I'm thinking maybe that's where the smokiness is coming from. Tobacco absolute. And then cistus labdanum essential oil. And labdanum, I always can never pronounce that right, usually adds some powderiness in it. So maybe that's where I'm picking up iris. There is no iris in here, but there is this sort of smoky powderiness. Very interesting take on lily flower. It is almost like they took the kind of pure innocence of the lily and added like a dark element to it. Some woodiness, some smokiness, like it would be like the contrast between you've got the like innocent lily of the valley flower, and then on the other side you've kind of got this element of smokiness and deep darkness, woods out there. And there's some earthiness to this fragrance as well. It's almost like I'm walking out into the forest, and maybe there was a campfire that was kind of smoking out there. And then a very light layer of florals in here. And again, to my nose, it's almost picking up more like an iris scent because of that powderiness. So for this one, I find it very interesting. I'd want to wear it on my skin. I would be like, this is a still thinking one. It's not like, ooh, I don't want to wear this whatsoever. This one feels very fall appropriate. So I feel like I want to try this out on my skin, kind of go take myself out on a walk, see how it reacts with the air. This would be one of those that I would find very interesting and unique. So to conclude this little perfume sampling party, I'm debating between wanting to put on Sleeping on the Roof. That was my initial, like, really love that one. And actually the Xerjoff Acento Overdose, which I'm a little bit surprised at, but those are the two that I'm sort of debating putting on. I think I will go with my true love of Sleeping on the Roof. That was just one that was very, like, felt a little bit more like me. So I hope you enjoyed this little perfume sampling party. If you have tried any of these fragrances, let me know your thoughts on them as well. It's always fun to chat perfume with you. And if you are wanting to try any of these samples yourself, hop on to twistedlily.com. I do have a code Abby10 that can be used on samples, and that of course is the best way to figure out if it is full bottle worthy for you. So thank you so much for watching, and I will be back with another video soon.